Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel. Hello.
Oh my gosh, hello.
So you remember last week and I was like, when's Gage gonna get this story started? And I was all like, the past 2 days, I was like, oh my gosh, like it's totally heating up, but like everywhere and like at the same time.
Yes, everything's on fire.
Yeah, like the week was okay, but I find like starting yesterday, it was like so good. And so I mean, Kate sucks. Like, there's no way around it.
There's
He's a
no way
jerk
around
on
it.
so many levels. Like, how could you, on the one hand, be like, oh no, Ava, you might lose your child, and then like openly go to Jason and be like, and not even look at Danny, get rid of the child, get rid of your son, don't look at it, tell it to leave. Tell it you're done being its dad. Like, I was like, what's wrong with you? Are you like a robot? Like, that was the moment I thought Carly would do the big confrontation.
Yes.
But
I
my gosh, he's awful.
He is awful. So here's the thing, just as a measurable thing, like a ruler,
Okay.
whatever you want to call it. So like this is kind of the way we talk about he's like Anna Banana, but to the extreme. Like
Oh,
if
that's
she took
exactly what I was saying.
steroids and drugs and like it became this like monstrous thing, it's Kate's.
But that's exactly how I felt when they were in a room together. I'm like, it's hard to even follow because it's like they're
Yes.
talking to the same person, like they're talking to themselves. Oh my gosh. Okay. Lots about Kate's, but maybe we can start with like Anna's conversation with Jason. Okay. So it happened. She got what she
It sure
wanted.
did. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so now her and Jason showed up to have a little talk because he's being sent away. He's being
Yes.
banished. What did you think of that conversation?
I honestly don't understand. I mean, props to Jason and his character and his acting for keeping his cool, yet us feeling the steam and energy coming off of him because she's trying to play off the fact that she okay, here's the thing. Here's my favorite part. She's like, "Do you think you could have done this better?" He's like,
Yes.
"Yes."
But
Just plain and simple.
it's so
Yes.
sad that that's where she landed. You know what I mean? Given the entirety of the conversation, that's a poor conclusion. You know what I mean? That's not an ace question because it starts off where he brings this problem to her like, "Hey, can you do something? Can you do anything at all?"
Anything,
And
exactly.
anything. And then she's like, "Oh, well, I wouldn't want to impede on an FBI investigation." I'm like, "Literally, you've been undermining the FBI? Like you actually became commissioner to undermine the FBI because Kate's came to town. You're like, I don't like this. And he's like, well, you're nobody. You are in this weird hotel room confronting this guy with Jordan. Like, neither of you are law enforcement. No, like that's how it started. She had no
Yes.
status, she had no power. So she's like, oh, really? You want to treat me like a civilian? Like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and who's never been trained by any form of law enforcement? Oh, joke's on you. I'm gonna become commissioner. And she did.
Yeah.
She decided like I'll be commissioner. And then she's like, now you have to talk to me. Now you have to work with me. And then she went out of her way to kind of be in charge and be in his business.
Oh yeah, big time.
So I mean, she's been undermining from the start, but what I love the most was watching the ways in which Jason didn't let any of it slide. Like he's a man of
Yes.
few words, and it didn't take that many to like discredit her or confuse her. Like she has the story in her head. I'm a
Yes, she
hero,
does.
and
Yes.
I just am. It's crazy. I'm a hero. I'm
I'm
very
amazing,
important.
guys.
And then she's like, I did a good thing. And then he says one thing, and you see it in her face. Her whole idea of herself just crumbles. Like, wait a second. Is it possible I don't know what I'm doing at all? Like, and so to me, that was like my favorite because there was some really strange things being communicated where she's like, you're asking a lot. He's
Yes.
like you did for me.
Exactly.
And then they're talking, and then he's a bit more
Mhm.
blunt and says, I want you to clean up your mess. She's like, what do you want me to do? He's like, clean up your mess.
Okay, but did you want to throw something at the TV when she talked about him living outside the lines and suffering the consequences of his actions?
Okay, so like, look, I'll admit it's hard. It's hard to watch this, but I love it so hard at the same time because it's like at first we were like, oh, Anna Banana, or like she never solves anything. But then I always appreciate the consistency in someone's character trait. So I love so hard watching her play into her ridiculousness. And it also made me think of an interview she did at the Daytime Emmys where she actually like she talked about her character and she said, Anna lives in the gray and she kind of like she swims in it when it suits her. So
Mm.
I love that it's known in this character, right? Like it's on
Yes.
purpose that she sort of lives in a bubble and does her own thing. And I think it's got to be fun to play a character where you're delusional. You do whatever you want and then you try to talk your way out of it. Like it has to be fun. But like so he was that's the thing. Like Anna did that. She tried to throw back at him because it was too much in her court. She was
Yes,
too much the
yes.
bad guy, especially when he looks at her and is like, clean up your mess. And whatever she was saying wasn't working. At the end of the day, I think like Anna respects Jason and wants his respect. And I think every
Yes.
time he spoke to her and she saw that he was not respecting her or he clearly thought badly of her, she really didn't know what to do for with herself. And she was trying to get on even playing field. And she did. She started to go that way, right? Like these charges are brought against you because of your choices. When do you and Carly take responsibility? But the point is, like, you begged to be brought in to Jason's crap because you wanted
Yes.
to know what Kate's was doing. Like, you're right. Jason and Carly made their choices. And up until this point, Jason had full control of the situation because nobody else knew what was going on. So he got to call all the shots without any interference. He's been gone for some time. He's been dead for too long because when
Too
he came
long.
back, he was like he came in with like, "Oh, well, Anna's respectable. That's Robin's mom. She's
Poor
she's like
guy.
a WSB agent." So he comes in with like pre-dead memories of everything, right? Like that's all he's got to go on. So he looped her in, not to necessarily to help him, but she kind of convinced him to do that, to work together. But Jason was always on his own mission, but she had a different agenda with just Kate's being
Yes.
like, tell me what's happening. Tell me, tell me, tell me.
Tell
And then
me.
Pikeman, right? Like she was doing her own thing. So she inserted herself. So you're right. This was his choice, but you inserted yourself and he gave you that trust. And he said, I did this because you asked me to. You know what I mean? So basically saying, the mistake was that I trusted you. The
Yes,
mistake was that I
exactly.
prioritized what you wanted, that I saw value in what you wanted, and I
Hmm.
supported that. So, whatever understanding, whatever mutual respect, I think she definitely used it all up for sure.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so I mean, he took responsibility. He's like, yeah, like, what? How much more could he take responsibility for the choices he made when he was younger? Much less for getting Carly into it. Like, he did give up his life.
Yes.
He is taking accountability in that sense. He's doing everything he can and he is paying a very steep price. But when he pointed out to her, like, they have to take responsibility, but Valentine didn't have to.
Yes.
And
It's
like I
messed
just
up.
like there's some like as much as I it's ramping up and I find it really fun. I think like certain elements of all of these stories combined that I'm like we could have done without. Like Pikeman could have just been resolved a long time ago as just a competing mob thing.
Yes, exactly.
Um, but I am starting to feel that it's a bit worth it. And I'll tell you why like a little bit later. There's certain things that are coming out of this, and I'm like, ooh, like we're finally getting somewhere. It was so stuck and stagnant. But even the Pikeman stuff, it's like it's kind of falling flat. But given the episode of today, I'm like, okay, maybe not. So I still
Hmm.
have a little bit of hope for that. The other part, like the piece of this whole puzzle that I feel that I don't know it was really necessary is the pill thing with Sonny. Like I
Yes.
understand on some level, sure, if you can manipulate a breakdown, that'll be to your advantage. But I feel like they didn't move fast enough on the storyline. Like, supposedly Sonny has been tapering off of his actual medication for some time now, but like he's acting a little erratic here and there, but for the most part, meh. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just say that, meh. Like,
Yes.
and so I just feel that Sonny, Carly, like since Nixon Falls, Sonny has been on this journey. And
Yes.
I feel like the medication storyline undermines that journey for him, because I don't want the medication to be the scapegoat of everything, right? Because in the episodes that ran today and yesterday, like all this past stuff is coming up. Everything is sort of coming full circle, and I really didn't think it would. I thought all this crap was done and over with. I wasn't super thrilled about how everything with Sonny went down. We talk about this. We don't feel like he took
Mhm.
full responsibility, but I think so much happened that it would have been a good story just about Sonny. I don't know, just being a jerk for being a jerk, going through his whole ups and downs, his own stuff, and eventually taking accountability. And I feel like the story as I'm seeing it now could have happened without the medication piece entirely.
Oh, 100%, because it would have showed us a different layer to Sunny. Exactly that.
Yeah.
Without the pills being the scapegoat, without figuring out where he lies. Like, he still hasn't figured out that line of Mike and Sunny that he still romanticizes that Nina no longer does.
Yeah, exactly. Like like, that's the thing. Nina is growing far beyond Sunny. Like, at this point, Nina is winning in the parent department. That's saying a lot.
Right?
So anyways, like, back to whole Anna and that whole accountability thing. I just loved how he like put like how he ended that by just saying, all I ask is for the same courtesy you gave Valentine. And that shut up real fast. Like, she thought she had a leg to stand on, and then that was gone. And then she started rambling, I will do whatever it takes to not be sucky in your eyes. I will fix it. But I didn't know what to think because Jason's holding up that book.
What was that book? Was
It
it like
looked
New
like a police
Recruits?
academy book,
That's what
and
I
he's
thought.
holding it so much, and then he threw it across the
Yeah.
desk.
He never
I-
throws things.
no, and it's like, if he's asking for Anna to find a solution as an audience, we know her one solution:
Yes,
become a cop.
yes, we
I
do.
need to escape Sunny. Become a cop. I need to get away from the FBI. I think you should become a cop.
Carly, become
so
a cop.
so part of me was like, is that a hint? I don't know, but all I have to say is that conversation between Anna Banana and Jason was stellar. Like they really delivered that. Like, there was so much bananaing going on in those
Hmm.
scenes. It was so remarkable. I think Anna lived up to Anna in those moments, and I think Jason did justice to the audience to call her on it. Like, it was a perfect balance.
Oh, I totally agree. It was gold and it gets an early gold star.
So that's the thing. So we watch Anna go back and forth to, like, well, it's not my fault. Take responsibility. I will take full responsibility. And I'll even start making phone calls. And you talked about Jason, and I think Jason's face acting, his acting, because it's like they're still keeping him true to who he is. He's still, like, Danny sums it up a little bit, like, you don't say things just to say things. He's still
Hmm.
that loyal person. He still, doesn't have a lot of words when he's talking, but you can see all the anguish underneath. So I
Yes, that's
love
true.
that. I feel like there's layers to Jason, more facial expressions. Like, when he bust into Jason's room and then started, like, oh, Ava, have you heard about Ava Jerome? She's like, she needs me. And Jason's like, are you an idiot? Like, do you not have access to Google? I thought that was specific to Nixon Falls. I just felt with the
Yes.
FBI's technology that you would have the internet.
Yeah, totally.
like for him to walk in and say that, it's like, what's the matter with you? Like, so that conversation and watching the light bulb click for Jason, that even though it was about Pikeman and Carly and all this stuff, and now all of a sudden watching it, like, that was actually really subtle. But watching Jason watch Kate's unravel, and even to say, like, Sonny was wrong about a lot of things, all things. He's not the best, but the one thing he wasn't wrong about was you. Like, that whole scene and watching Jason piece it together, it was amazing. It was amazing to see. Like, so I feel like getting to watch the character of Jason evolve and have all these layers and watch him act out his absence, I find is really cool.
Yes, I absolutely love it. Like when he's on screen, that he just pops so much, and you can't help but just be completely in awe of him and just like completely sucked into the scene.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now, right, you have Kate's going off, you have like Anna trying to repair what's happened. Anna just, I mean, it's not a bad play to pretend that you're in charge of everything and that you know what's going to happen next. Because she's like, you're going to stop, you're going to let Jason go. Done. Who said I couldn't solve problems? And and when they were going at each other, I was like, Kate's like saying like they were talking about being unethical.
Yeah.
And I liked when Kate's made fun of himself, like, ooh, like you're making me sound like a bad guy. I was like, that's really hilarious. And then they were talking about like being a disgrace. And I'm literally watching because it's kind of like Ross and Russ on Friends.
Yes, 100%.
And so I'm watching Ross and Russ, and I'm like, I don't know who's more of a disgrace. Like, I can't tell. Like, I really, because like you're supposed to be the good guys on paper. Like, you
Yes.
two people are supposed to be the good guys, and like then you got criminals. But then I'm watching you two, and I'm like, huh? Oh my gosh! And what did you think of wait. This is funny actually. This is from the Anna Kate scene. Anna says this.
Okay.
She took issue with how Kate's is repaying Jason's like kindness, his help. I'm like, Russ, which one are you? Like, I was just like, are you hearing yourself? What did you think about Anna with the warden? By the way, the warden's great. Like, this is I think first on-screen appearance. It's always fun when you have like these characters that come in and they're just like really good. Like the warden, I don't know about you, but I was like, wow, like you're really good at this acting thing.
He had a great poker face, and he definitely made Anna feel cuckoo bananas.
Oh, I loved him. Like, I understand that. Like, I like regardless of who Anna is, I understand that as an audience when I'm watching this in this context, I'm supposed to be on Anna's side, right? Like, because in this specific scene, this is about like the good of like, Pikeman, her city, helping Jason. Like, I don't know, uncovering something. I don't
Something.
know. But now they've decided that Brennan is the key to Kate's, okay? But when she goes there, I can't tell you how much I laughed in those scenes of how good it was. Because no matter what she said, she's like, you know what? I'm good at my job. I write down dates. Did you know? I used to be like like I did things.
When I write things down, they get done, friends.
But she like made it seem so official, right? She's like, "Oh yeah? You want to say things to me that I can't do anything about? I have dates, okay?" And then she's listed them off and he's like, "Yeah, ours don't match what you've got." And I loved it because he's not fighting with her. And then she's like, "I'm
Yes.
going to ask people. I'm going to question people here." And then he's like, "You can. They may or may not remember." Just like, this is so fascinating. It was so fascinating. And I was just waiting. I'm like, when is she gonna cry?
I
When
know,
when is when
right?
is she gonna cry and just be like, listen, I just need you to tell me? And I'm wondering though, because I'm like, obviously if these people know what they're doing, they're gonna delete all records, but like meaning and GH records, but it would be funny if like they didn't. They'd be like, Brennan was here and he was transferred to the prison and they just forgot that one file.
Well, I'm hoping somebody's sloppy, but at the end of the day, like all of GH staff is somebody that, like a character that we know. So somebody is involved in something. Like who's dirty?
I don't know, but it's just we know Brennan was working with Valentine. He obviously knows the whole Pikeman sitch.
Mm-hmm.
But now Anna's theory is he has something on Kate's.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay. like I'll I'm like, I'll take it. It's interesting. It's not it's not too wacky that I can't get behind it. I'm like, sure, let's follow your gut, Anna. Who knows? Like, it could be right this time. But like, this is interesting. How do we keep this Brennan guy on? Because he's super freaking fun and interesting. And
Right.
now the way he insults Kate's is hilarious. So how are we going to use him in this situation? So everything just kind of came to a head and everyone's getting mixed in. Like it was so fun because I'm like, wait a second. Cause like I knew from the preview that Carly has like this confrontation with Kate's, but then I'm like, this is odd. The show starts and Diane's coming down the elevator in the background and Carly's right there. And she goes to meet Sonny outside. I'm like, huh? And I'm like, why are there so many characters here for this? Like, this is weird. Like, we know something big is about to happen. And then Joss is there. And so
Yes.
that all kind of like surprised me. But like, we haven't had a super fun public confrontation in so long.
Ooh, that's really true.
It was so satisfying. But I mean, like, remember, like, all of 5 seconds ago, promise me, say it, Carly. I won't turn myself into Kate. And in my head, I was like, honestly, there's a loophole. She could turn herself into anyone who's not Kate's. But I
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought.
but then today she's telling Sonny, I did not lie to Jason. I had every intention of honoring that, but then I didn't. So like whatever, Carly's take on the lies, but her scenes with Jason, like how much did you think like when they got physical? Because they're like
I thought they were
arguing
gonna get real physical.
because he grabs her and he's like, you
Hmm.
can't stop me. And I'm like, or can he?
For
With
at
his
least 20
mouth.
to 30 minutes.
Like, because that's why I was like, this is really like in terms of what's next for like Carly and Jason, I feel like the way it's going right now feels aligned with one of our earlier theories of how this could happen. Like in our past episodes we talked about like, well, if Carly and Jason have something, it might not be because like
Mhm.
they have the moments or they come to this conclusion. It's that what he did was so big. And now what she's doing
Mhm.
is so big. So now it's in a public forum. Everybody is seeing
Yes.
it. And everybody knows, like, I mean, even this FBI Kate's is like using Carly's, like, you'll get to go back to your precious Carly. The fact that Diane asked
Yeah.
him and said, your job, I was like, thank you, Killer Miller, like, just on behalf of everybody who watches General Hospital to tell Jason Morgan that his job is to show up in a suit day after
Oh,
day
damn.
in the courtroom
Hmm.
and stay close to Carly and keep her calm. So much about that. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. And I'm like, I look forward to the suits. I look forward to the intensity between Jason and Carly. And I had said, what would make sense is not Jason and Carly openly pursuing each other, right? It's them to say, I love you, I love you, I love you as buds. Like that's their MO. And
Yes.
they only divulge feelings because they were going to get married, right? Like that's the only reason. Otherwise, they were quite contained with things and trying to really hold on to what they had because it had been so stable. So we had talked about like maybe how the feelings would come out is everyone else noticing it and confronting it. Like, could it be an argument with Sam when she's like, how could you do this and why for her? Like, everyone maybe pushing and challenging
Hmm.
them and like kind of that way. And and it like, and the way that it's going now, I feel like that might be what happens. It's not Jason and Carly being like, I have feelings for you. It's everyone else going, you guys have feelings for each other. So everybody else making it awkward basically and inserting themselves into their relationship.
And inviting them to their own wedding.
But like what do you think? Like do you think like do you like they've had scenes right where it's like we're friends who drink beer and we're friends who like grab each other and say no, let me give my life for you. We're friends who wear suits and show up to court hearings simply to like manage your feelings. Like, what?
I know, right? I totally agree with you, though. Like, at the end of the day, they're so used to keeping themselves contained, protecting each other, and protecting, like you refer to all the time as family and that they're a family unit. Like, he specifically said it again this week. Like, when you lied about Michael, that's when they became officially a family.
Yeah.
Which is like what
Yeah,
you would
that's
normally
really
say to like
big.
your part. Like, I don't know.
Oh
I get
yeah.
that
Well,
they're family, but it's like, when yes, you're a family, you and your husband and wife, you're family. But when you have this baby that you bring into this world, it's just like, it elevates that feeling so much. And he's like expressed love in every single way. And so has she, except for saying like, we belong together. So yeah, I totally agree with you that it's everybody else's perspective because they're so used to being them.
yes, and in their minds, being friends is that's it. And I think anything more, they're just fearful. And also,
Yes.
everybody, it's kind of like Tracy's journey, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Tracy is who she thinks everyone else thinks she is, right? Until Gregory, when she realized, it turns out I could be decent when I want to be. Or the scenes with Ned, like the fact that Ned is expressing to her, I love when you're human. I love when you're emotional all over the place. I love
Right.
you. And so she's been toying with, let's say, even her identity. Like it's not so black and white. It's not whether you're a Lila or an Edward. And she obviously feels that she's an Edward, but like she's not. You know what I mean? Like she's her, and she might be a mix of the two, but she's not just one thing.
Yes,
And
exactly.
so I think sometimes people get caught up living a role. And I think the like how could you move on from that role? Like these roles have been solidified for so long. You and me best friends, and like Sonny's your man. But she's not
Yeah.
with Sonny. So it's sort of like everybody has their role and their place and lines you
Mm.
can't cross. But all of the roles of all the other people, like the Sams, the Elizabeths, the Sunnies, the kids, everybody's kind of evolved and in different roles. But Carly and Jason are left standing going, well, okay, I guess we'll hold on to these roles, whether it makes sense or not anymore. Even though everybody around us has evolved and nothing's the same, like the canvas has been really shook up ever
Hmm.
since Sunny and Nixon Falls. It hasn't really been the same since.
Oh, I totally agree. They just don't know how to do it, where to move next, what that means.
No. And so there was so many. So again, the confrontation. So I was loving just Joss lately. Like
Yes.
she's become the queen of background face acting. So whether it's at the pool in the background of watching the Jason Carly Sunny TV show that she loves to watch, and
Hmm.
she loves to kind of like, she dishes with Geo. She's his Port Charles tour guide. She like lets him in on everything, and I absolutely love her coming to terms with, let's say, Sunny, and she's
Yes.
doing it through Geo. Like she regrets what she did to Christina, and so with Geo, she's doing it in her own way, showing support and facilitating Geo's relationship with Sunny and without tainting it. So I thought that was funny when she was like, "Okay, if this was any other time, I would tell you to say hi, but like something's going on." And then to have her in the background being like, "What?" But she was also scaring watching her mom in action. She's like, because she actually knows. She actually knows the whole
Yes.
story. And then it was so crazy when I was rewatching just to see Gio in the background that he's like getting sucked into all this Port Charles drama. Like he's not going to want to go back to Bensonhurst
No,
ever.
heck no.
So I think it's really cool the way I like Joss and Gio's relationship. I really do.
Well, I love how they're besties in the sweetest, most innocent way, and
It is
exactly that. Like
that.
they're building friendship and community at the same time.
Well, he's filling that Spencer role, right? Because
Yeah.
Joss and Spencer have that friendship, and Spencer
Hmm.
and Trina had the romantic relationship. So he
Yes.
is very much filling that gap, but like I love their dynamic and how that relationship and chemistry ended up unfolding. But I love how Carly just went at Kate's, like she really couldn't take it. Like it started with, he's not a guest. Then it was bring his bags down. Then it
I
was
freaking loved it
put it
so
on the
hard.
curb.
It was amazing.
Oh man, and then the whole time I'm like, so is Ava just waiting for him to come back
Right?
with
Like
the
she's just
bottle?
making her drink, having reminiscing about the kiss. Two kisses. She cannot, this poor woman though, can't get past a kiss, can't get to the next base.
Okay, I have to say, like, early gold star to Ava and Scott strategizing. Like, it was
Cold.
so funny. Like some strange lines coming out of those scenes. Like Nina, like goes, can you rely on Nina? She's like, no, Nina probably camped down the hallway pretending it's a coincidence. She pitched her tent there in front of Sonny's place. And I was like,
Yes.
that's hilarious, but highlights how far removed she is from what's actually going on in Nina's life. So
How
that
far
was,
removed she is from reality and what their friendship is. Those scenes were so funny.
oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, Willow coming in, I just feel like it's so crazy because having a project really helps her and Nina bond. Because if you leave Nina to swim in like trying to connect with Willow just like that, it doesn't work. But Nina shines in her area of expertise. She does shine at work. That is her space. So I
Is
kind of
it
like,
PR and media, I believe?
yeah, I think yeah, she does PR stuff and she's like a media specialist. She can
Oh,
help
okay, okay. I was just checking. I
prep
wasn't sure.
you prep you for interviews. Yeah. So so I love them. And then I like that those were the moments where I was like, okay, well, Nina's like truly putting Sonny to shame. But then Ava, I was like, what's going on? So she dodges Natalia and then she's like, oh, Nina's here. Let me lurk. And I was like, and I just, but it was Nina's face
Ugh.
acting was gold. She's like,
Yeah.
what? Like, what do you want? And, like I am shocked. I am shocked. I've watched countless conversations where Ava's talking to Nina. Nina sounds like she's on another planet. And Ava was like the grounded one, being like, oh my gosh. I watched the amount of times Ava would slowly confront Nina because her delusions were way too intense of like
Yes.
just really not taking accountability. And then never could I have ever pictured a light, fun scene where Nina was clearly the sane one and Ava was the one being a little disconnected from reality, trying to act like you're friends when even if Nina can realize that you're not friends, that's saying something. And like telling her like I'm on Sunny's side and warning her about what she did to Christina, that she's lucky if losing Avery is all that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of quoted you, Nina, by saying that her life was better post Sunny.
Right? Like all of that was pretty amazing. But what made me like, you know how very much we love the delusion of Nina? I'm kind of enjoying this Ava delusion with, she wants Carly to go on the stand on her behalf. She thinks that's like the
That's
best idea.
great.
She thinks that,
But
you
it's
know,
not a bad one. It's pretty good. Like this is why I'm like, why are like Scott's awful. He's like, don't you have anyone? Don't you have more than one? Like he's really making her feel like crap for not having people that are like adamantly on her side. But at the end of the day, I'm like, literally put anybody on the stand, and yeah, it could work in either of their favor. Like anybody that gets put on the
anybody.
stand can easily be flipped to an Ava perspective. Like neither of them are saints. Like this custody hearing is ultimately super delusional. And I think like when she mentioned like the Carly thing, because like the whole Morgan, I like that because Morgan came up in the context of like Michael's conversation with Sonny, and then it came up between Scott and Ava, and Scott was like, no, that's old. But the fact that she was able to say like Carly doesn't want Donna there, like that's huge. There's a lot in her favor.
There is a lot in her favor, but it's just watching, I think, more like Ava spin on things. Like
Oh my
her
gosh, yeah.
friendship with Nina. Like, well, she did cut a baby out of my belly and like kidnap me. So like me leading her down the wrong path. I mean, like, it's not even that bad, really. Like we should technically still be friends and you would do a thing for me.
Okay, this is what I used to say about Nina, and I think this is why it works for Ava.
Yeah.
Because Ava's not afraid of that side of herself, nor is she
No.
ashamed of that side of herself.
Mm-hmm.
So when Ava does this, it's not necessarily delusional. Like it's like she knows it's weird between Nina. She's just trying to manipulate her because the Nina she has come to know is very manipulatable.
Yes.
Manipulate, yeah.
Yeah, I got
You
you.
get it. Everyone gets it. So I love those scenes about like we should still just let's be friends anyway. Like, but I love when she was talking to Scott, how excited she was about not knowing who switched the meds. because she told him.
Yes.
And he's like, who did it? She's like, I don't know. Like, I actually didn't do any of it. But I'm like, but you did on the last
You
bit.
did.
Like, you did. But I love that she's like, I don't know who originally did it. Like, she's shocked that she didn't do a bad thing to start. She's like, she piggybacked off of it, which there's no full credit.
No initiation. It was just hanger on her.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I have to say gold star to just Ava and Scott strategizing was amazing because even when she was talking to Kate's and he's like, because she's not stupid. You know what I mean? Like she's in a
Yes.
tough spot, but she's like not dumb. She is a Sonny expert. You know, she
Yes.
coached Nina through everything. And so like when Kate was like, oh, I'm gonna take Sonny down, she's like, I love that you're on my side, but how for real? Like, because nobody can. And I honestly don't see anything in you that would suggest you could do what no one else could. And then she said this. So this is what I'm loving. I'm noticing them draw. Like, I mean, it's always nice when they draw on the past, but some maybe drawing on things that have maybe been put to the side. So pointing this out, which was such a strong point, when Kate was like, I'm going to take Sonny down, she's like, he shot a Quartermain and was pardoned.
Right?
That was very heavy.
It was intense.
And then when he was trying to tell her what his plan was, he's like, yeah, like, I want to help you because I never want to, like, you get your kid. And he's like, I'm leveraging this witness. I'm like, no, you're leveraging kids. That's what you're doing. You're
Yeah, it's
leveraging
so bad.
his child. And I love like he's talking about someone like she doesn't know who it is. And that was the full circle moment, right? So like
Hmm.
because Jason has spent so many times like being dead, he never got a chance to cash in on like the favors with Ava.
Yes.
Like she had saved his life, I think. And then I don't know if he did more for her, but I think like I like that because I'm pretty sure he's referring to Ava like she owes me. Unless he's talking about Anna.
I don't think that trust will be built up so fast.
So maybe I don't know, but I'm hoping it's like Ava.
I'm
Like
hoping it's Ava too.
help me and I'll get Sunny to drop everything. But
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
yeah. Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there, but it was so freaking exciting. And like so one of like the other like bigger scenes for me when it comes to Sunny was he had that talk with Willow, right? And she got nowhere about Michael. She tried
No.
and he was like, I don't care. And then all of a sudden this week he's like, hello, son. I need
I
a
could not.
favor. And then he's like, you only come to me when you want a favor. And I'm like,
What's
Jesus Christ,
happening?
you asked to come here. You want the favor. And then when they started talking about Christina, it was just weird when he was defending Natalia, being like, well, she's trying to make things right. Like he picks and chooses who he's really who's forgivable and who isn't, right? Like Natalia's forgivable, Michael isn't.
But I love that Diane called him out on everything that he
Oh
said and
yeah.
even, trying to rein him in because she sees how wild this is and how none of this makes sense, but she's still there to support him and he's damn lucky.
Yes, he is. And so like up until this point, Sonny was on like his baby mama tour and they all like in a weird way were like, yeah, sure. I'll support you out of like not liking Ava. But I was just shocked that nobody brought up like what was best for Avery.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
like again, Ava could like be rotten to you all, but she's not rotten to Avery.
Yes.
You cannot deny that. So it was refreshing to hear Michael say like Avery loves her mother.
Yeah.
And it's like they've been at peace for years.
Hmm.
And you're upset because you suddenly realize, oh, like she has motive and she did something to Christina, like she's being clingy or she wants a relationship with me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it really doesn't make any sense. And like Diana is supportive, but she's also logical. So I was kind of taken aback when she brought up what Ava did to Morgan. Because even I was like, but it's a little too late for that because she did what she did to Morgan. Everybody knows. And they still managed to repair the relationship, all of
Yes.
them, right? And they were close. Like, I mean, Ava spent Christmas at Carly's,
Right?
so I just find it strange. It's basically at Sunny's whim that this custody is happening. Take Sunny out of the equation, and like the whole family was functioning just fine with
They were
Ava.
thriving.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and Avery. But what I found the most remarkable is like having watched for so long, like watching when Michael was born, watching all of them, like when he was there, he was not trying to attack Sonny, but it was interesting hearing him voice facts and of
Yes.
like his childhood. Like, am I really like I might be your child, but it's kind of sad. Like anybody who was a child and around Sonny in their own childhood are not good witnesses. Like anybody who Sonny actually had close contact with when they were children, like all the people he was closest to are basically not good witnesses. Like that's saying something. And it's interesting because you know you have like Michael's coma, lost years of his life because of his
Yeah.
father, pointing out like, you know, Morgan and all this stuff. But it was crazy to hear it. Like Michael wasn't even trying to confront his dad and being like, hey, like growing up with you was hard. He wasn't even doing
Yeah.
that. He was saying things that were difficult for him with not even putting the focus on himself, but
Hmm.
really to help his dad. And it was really messed up that Michael said these heavy things. And then Sonny's like, I thought we were past all that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
thought we were past the coma. You know, this bullet was meant for me, and like how difficult his childhood was. Like, it was fascinating for me to watch where these events that happened years ago land today. And also in the context of who Sonny is as a
Hmm.
father, right? Because I feel that as part of Sonny's journey, I feel like that scene, that moment for me was more about Sonny's persona, the loving father was put
Hmm.
on trial in that moment. Like that's what I feel like this is. It's like it's his whole life decisions coming back. It's kind of like we watch when everything was super cool with Jason and blah blah blah. Jason's so cool, but then there was this whole moment of like Jason's a crappy dad. Jason wasn't a present father. And then you're like, oh my, yeah, that is kind of true. And like they're addressing it. And with Sonny for so long, like it's the unraveling. Like everybody is starting to see the whole picture of Sonny. And a lot of people have had to come to face the fact that they chose to ignore many things and see
Hmm.
Sunny in one light. We see Anna struggle with that. We see Laura struggle with that. But I feel in this moment for me, it was really interesting because now Sunny is struggling with the idea of who he is. Like, look at all the relationships he's lost, but it's really interesting. Now his like fatherhood as a whole is really being put into question because Michael lists all the things. He was talking to Christina and I love their conversation, but it's like, well, we
Yes.
can't have Dante. You know, Dante was shot by his dad, you know, and then they talked about all the ways in which he rejected Michael and that like Michael caught a bullet meant for his dad and Morgan was shipped away and like all of these things. It's really horrible.
It's so bad. It is really bad. And I do agree. Like, it was just as hard as it was to watch that scene with how Sonny treats Michael. It was so significant to all the things you're saying and his
Yeah.
reaction to him, and Diane pointing it out. Like, it's such a crucial point. Like, this is kind of, we've watched this slow climb, but we're really at a point where something huge is going to happen with Sonny, but will he come back from it?
That's exactly what I was feeling, like a tide was turning. I just felt bad for
Yes.
Michael. There's many times recently where I'm like, dude, let it go.
Right.
You're practically groveling to make your dad have a
Mm.
relationship with you. And then he's talking to Christina, like, for my kids, for my own sake, like, I need to know that I've done everything. But I'm like, Michael,
Mm.
would you want that for your kids? Like, do you, what,
Right.
like, would your kids have to go this far to earn you as their dad? And like, even when Carly and Sunny had that conversation, so
Oh,
moments that I thought would never happen, because we talk about it, the main thing that's never really happened is any accountability on Sunny's part. And when he
yes.
spoke to Carly, he's like, could you just smooth things over? You know, Michael's a father, he'll get it. But I'm like, she didn't say it
Wow.
because it would irk him, but like, Michael's a father. Like, this is what makes it hard because he is an actual father.
Yes.
And no, he can't get it because he probably wouldn't treat his kids that way. Like Sonny is extreme. It's
Yes.
hard for him to pull apart being a mobster and a father. There are times where it's so linked together and those codes don't really apply to fatherhood. They don't.
Well, his love for everybody is conditional, like at the end of the day.
But that makes sense when you're a mobster, but it's just
Yeah.
fatherhood requires a vulnerability that he can't be as a mobster. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's a huge struggle for him in terms of like these relationships. Of course, what Michael did was really bad, but you're ignoring the context. Like him trying to
Yes.
get you was because he was like, Daddy, you rejected me and didn't pick me, and you picked this stranger, this person who, like terrorized our family. Like it
Yeah.
was about the relationship at the end of the day, and Sonny refuses to see that. He only wants to see things he can understand, which is betrayal and his business. But the
Yes.
relationship stuff, the more emotional stuff on that end is not something he's been ever willing to face. And the fact that Carly called him on it saying,
Yes.
no, he's like, when she said, do you have any friends? And she's like, that's you. And she's like, no, you stood right here and rejected me
Mm.
and told me none of that matters. And I think you can't say those things to people and then expect them to be there. And I think in that moment, it's maybe starting to become real to him. So I feel like this could be huge. This could be a real awakening in so many ways. I feel like something was definitely reignited. Like their relationship between Jason, Carly, and Sonny has dramatically changed.
Mm.
The way the surrounding characters even see the mob and how they see them has evolved. So it's really interesting. So I feel like all of this has awakened a bond within those three again, Sonny, Carly, and Jason. But I also think that accountability piece might be coming. Like, look at all this chaos, and it's all around Sonny.
It is. And like the way the week ended or the way today ended, like that's when like, okay, what happens with Sunny? Is somebody gonna stop him? What kind of confrontation is gonna happen that says, okay, like he'll realize enough is enough?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's really bad. Like, he
It was
threw
a montage. It was a freaking montage of a gun.
he threw some cups. Like that's
He
what it means. 0 to 100.
did.
He's like, I'm gonna toss cups and get a gun. And
And
like,
threaten, a federal agent in front of a cop.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that reminds me of Anna when she stepped in because Sunny's like, oh, you Anna. She's like, what? I want to be cool again, Sunny. I didn't do it. And then she runs over and goes, can't you just ignore the evidence? And I was like, Anna, it's like practically a confession. You know what I mean? For the Valentine stuff. I was like, did you really just say that? And I love Diane. Like when Sunny's like, let me help. He's like, no, let me. I'm a lawyer. Like, what are you gonna do? But yeah, no, that's pretty dark and extreme. Like he's gonna be like, I'll solve this problem. I'm like, hmm. Okay.
Mm.
That'll delete the recording.
Fudge. The recording is in Kate's brain, apparently.
Oh my god. But that's the thing too. I'm like, this is strange, right? Because her defense is like Carly has to point fingers at the five families. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like her defense is to say, oh, there were other mobsters there coming at like it's insane to me. And I was wondering if there was other silly and funny ways of undermining that recording, right? Because it's like I think it's saying like, well, anybody could have said anything. Like saying it is one thing, but proof is another. But also it'd be really funny if all the five families get called. Like, I don't recall her saying that.
Right?
I have no
Ooh.
recollection of that. Wouldn't it be freaking hilarious if the five families, for some reason, I mean, I don't think they're gonna like being called into a court case and like,
No.
but what if they band together because somebody had a recording and that's breaking code? And so what if they band together to show solidarity with Carly and get her off, screw the FBI, and take care of their informant?
Ooh, I love all of this. This is where I want it to go.
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun to watch because that would be insane.
That would be insane. Then Kate gets thrown in the hole, that the hole gets thrown away. I love when Dante said that. That was amazing.
That that was hilarious. I giggled when I heard that. So what I didn't giggle at was the insanity that was Molly and TJ.
Oh my God. Okay. That was another scene that I wanted to throw things at the TV, but I paid a lot of money for the TV and I needed to watch Jeet. It is, okay. They went from a couple that we loved and like, oh, they're like the background couple, and like the romantic couple. And then they went through like some problems, like TJ got kidnapped. And now I'm like, please get off my TV.
It's funny because sometimes I like it when TJ acts a little crazy because it's fun.
I
Like
know
he
you
has
do.
range, right? He can do because we've seen him. He can do the drama. I remember him like
Yes, he can.
confronting his mom about the whole kidnapping. I've seen the comedy when he was acting with Brando and hyping up that awkwardness of the fact that like Molly slept with Brando and he didn't know.
Yes.
And we know this is out of character. So sometimes it is funny to kind of like watch this. And also, I'm always happy when they get that kind of attention because I do love TJ, but I don't love how this is going. But it is really riveting. Like, first of all, I think it's so cool having they had Perez Hilton and had the whole interview because for so long they make
Yes.
things up, right? Like, they won't say, like, Facebook, they said they used to have like another name. Uh,
Yes.
like, they don't use Google, right? They had their little Spidey or whatever, like Google, fake Google. So the fact that
Oh
they're being
yeah, yeah, yeah.
crazy explicit, like, they're talking about Instagram, they're talking about social media. They brought in like a real media person, Perez Hilton. They mentioned Kelly Ripa, which is like amazing, like in the episode today too, right? Like they're bringing in a lot of like real life in all of this. Um,
Yes.
but like, the interview went really well. The goal was to get their careers back on track. I mean, that whole thing was fun to watch. They showed Natalia a lot of grace. So I kind of like those scenes today with Natalia. Like, she frustrates me, but to watch that she's putting her pride and ego aside and sort of allowing herself to maybe, I don't know, open
Grow.
up a little bit more. Yeah, because she was so like, I think she was caught off guard, privacy invaded, she was over controlling, like things just kind of blew up in her face and she likes being in control. And you're watching the scene stay with Christina where she put that down, like she lowered her guard and she was like, okay, let me try humaning.
So two things here. Like I think the whole Natalia thing, because she has this like different view, or at least trying to change who she is, I feel like she's going to swoop in. Like, think about it. Look at how much gentleness there was between Natalia and Christina versus like Molly and Christina. And I know we'll get into that a little bit further. And then if we back it up and go back to the Perez interview, I absolutely love the level of detail that they put into the lead up, but specifically the interview, because they kept saying like, I'm nervous. You need, the advice was be yourself, be authentic, redirect questions you don't want to answer. But didn't
Yeah.
you find like there was a level of authenticity? Like when he was talking to them, it wasn't like the actress playing Blaze. It was literally like Blaze being nervous. Like
Oh
they
yeah.
encapsulated that nervousness and that hesitation and pause so well. Like they absolutely both, they all killed it at how somebody would feel being interviewed in a situation like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like when you bring that up, it's true. Like it couldn't have been more real. And it's always funny. It's kind of like it's always funny when we're so shocked. We're like, they actually pretended like it was real, and
Yeah,
I
totally. I believe
believed
them, guys.
it. I was like, is this what they call acting? It's
Acting.
good. No, they did amazing. And we, the audience, saw Christina not want to, because we saw, like, Sasha knows, like, you're in the media and your privacy's taken away. It was sort of like the
Mhm.
risk and the downside for Christina that all her crap got public too. This
Yes.
organization she's worked so hard on, everything is being dragged
Hmm.
because of what it means to be in the public eye. And so crazy of her to think, why would I want to bring my sister and TJ into the limelight and talk about her fertility issues on TV? Because she's not wrong when she challenged Molly.
Oh,
Like, which would you
yes.
have preferred? Because not like it doesn't matter what she did. Like, I didn't think anything was wrong when teacher's like, "Did you see the
I
interview?" I'm
know.
like, "What did she do?" Like,
I
she
know.
literally, she did, because as the audience, we saw her talk with Brooklyn. She did exactly what she set out to do, which was not give attention because it was a media interview. And Molly doesn't get that. This wasn't a
Yeah.
personal conversation between Blaze, Christina Perez Hilton, and you and TJ. Those are strangers. Why do you care what strangers think?
I
Like,
agree.
what do you mean? Like, why do you care what they think? You know what's happening. Christina knows what's happening. It's annoying for Blaze and Christina have to do this because it's not their real life. Like when they said it on the interview, we're out to our families and our friends.
Yeah.
Like in our real, actual life of people we love and they love us, we're together. Like everything else is not real. But
Mm-hmm.
they have to do it because it's part of Blaze's job. It's for their livelihood. And I swear, the amount of time TJ and Molly want to crap on Christina about being like, oh, crappy surrogate. Look at her. She's not calling
I
us. Well, what are
know.
you doing to support your surrogate? She's going through all of
Exactly.
this stuff
Thank
with
you.
Blaze. She has this interview coming up. Her livelihood is being threatened. Her girlfriend's livelihood is being threatened. You've had your arms open to Blaze, trying to welcoming her in. And then you're there being like, she didn't tell everybody that the baby was ours. It's like, well, that has more to do with your insecurity about your current relationship with her. But how is not bringing attention to it and not talking about it because it's not her pregnancy, really? Like, it's not her baby. How is that saying the baby is ours?
Okay, so like just based on Molly, even before Christina said, yes, I've thought of the idea of blah 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 of me and Blaze and the baby. Even before that, I'd be like, this is why I'm keeping the baby. You don't see me for who I am, yet you wanted me to be an incubator for you, but you don't trust me and you are willing to say the worst things to my face and then ask me to, with a smile, hand over this baby. Big F you to
Yeah.
both of you. Like, good on Christina for keeping it together. I mean, but that's who she is, and they'll never see it. Like, they see Christina as 10 years ago, and it is so difficult to watch. And even 10 years ago, there was a reason why she made the choices she made, and things led to things the way they did. Nobody has a perfect life like Molly. Even TJ has
Yeah.
gone through his ups and downs and is forgiven and gone through whatever he needed to go through. But it's like Christina is stuck in time for them. And that's it. That's all they see.
It was really brutal, but I just think if
Ugh.
Molly, if you're going to go there, why are you skipping over the important parts? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Do you
Yes.
realize you're riled up and you won't let Christina in on the conversation you're having? You're going in there completely hostile
Yeah.
and demanding this thing. And I mean, look, forget the context. The Christina we know, like, she's the businesswoman and it's a
Right?
contract. And from what I've seen with her, she's at least going to have her mom look it over. She's
Oh, yeah.
going to look it over. And you, being a lawyer, forcing her to sign it in that moment when you're getting emotional, you're kind of showing that you're mad at her, that she did something wrong. And she's been pretty calm about that, constantly accusing her of things. And you're getting mad at Christina because other strangers are making assumptions. And now Christina is not only responsible for herself, but she's responsible for what everybody else thinks
Thanks.
too. Like, it's like, it was really infuriating watching how TJ and Molly talk about her, because you're right. To them, she's frozen in time. And despite evidence to the contrary that they themselves highlight, it just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get through.
Yes.
And but I have to say, I really wish there were witnesses to this conversation, because Molly
Mhm.
was being really unfair. Like, had she talked to someone else, I'm kind of wondering what they would have said about the interview, because it's just Molly and TJ's perspective.
Yes.
The fear is legitimate. There's no respect for like the normalcy of this process, of that, like,
Mm-hmm.
she could have those feelings, and you put her on the spot when you asked her that. And it's sort of like, as a lawyer, don't ask questions you don't want the answers to.
Yes.
You guys weren't wrong. You're mad that you're right. But yeah, like, she's having those feelings. However, Christina should not have said at all what she said.
I
She said it
know.
calmly, but it
I
also was
know.
crazy. Like, it was crazy. Like, Molly was horrible. Like, even with her conversation with TJ saying, if I'm not joining a cult, I'm getting pregnant. I'm like, because you asked
Yeah.
her to be. It's
Yeah.
not like she got pregnant by herself with some rando. She got pregnant by her husband, okay? With your
Through medical
permission.
procedure, exactly.
Okay. And anyways, and then like when she was there, when she listed all of her partners like that, undermining every relationship, particularly the present one,
I
because that
know.
one is ugly, because Molly has sort of opened the window of like bringing Blaze in, saying, "Oh, well, you're part of the family," like, and including her. Like, you
Hmm.
did that, and I think it's insulting to Blaze, even though Blaze wasn't there. To say something like that is horrible. Again, what do you anticipate happening if you tell Molly, hey, I think I know your relationship better than you. And I honestly think just for now, me and my girlfriend would make better parents. And if you and TJ prove yourself, then maybe I'll give you the baby. Like, it's
Okay,
not good.
no, it's cuckoo bananas. But and this is what I couldn't remember. So like there was that situation where no, Molly came over to see Christina and she was crying about their relationship. And she did
Yeah.
say all of the things that Christina said back to her about like their relationship and they don't fight and she's scared about where this is going and blah blah. And I feel like there was no conversation in between. Like they don't really keep in touch a whole lot because I
No,
feel
no.
like Christina never really understood that, they did have an open and honest conversation and they did come to some sort of conclusion and they were kind of going in this positive direction. Then this thing happened, so there's this huge gap of time that we have no idea if they actually like interact,
You
so
no.
that Christina has that confidence to know that like they're working on things. And yes, it was rocky and I'm sorry to that I came to you in that moment, but that's what I was feeling. But blah blah blah, you know.
But it's the fact that they're struggling. Like Christina's
Yes.
struggling and there's a part of her that wants the baby and she's going to
Yeah.
hang on to any reason so she can, because Molly
Yeah.
doesn't owe her a follow-up. Molly showed up and just unloaded. She trusts her sister. She said this is happening. And part of having healthy relationships is that, you know, your friends don't hang on to bad stuff when it's over for you, right? They're there
Yes.
just to support you. And Christina held that, like, and that also, it doesn't make sense. Like, they had this fight and they've been fighting, but you don't know what's happened after. And you made the assumption that time froze after that conversation. She even spoke with Alexis, and Alexis gave her feedback that's the most logical that anybody would assume. Well, yeah, couples fight. It's just that she allowed you a window into it. And she doesn't always, but she did in that moment, and that's
True.
the other side of it. So she assumed that, like, well, you had this fight, it's awful, but like Alexis is like, but like they have this, like, you actually don't know anything about the relationship. Molly wasn't wrong there. You're not an expert in their relationship, and they did work through it, and that's a reality. So it was Christina, I think, her desire to keep the baby that allowed her to kind of hold on to this delusional idea that, oh, my sister came to me because she had a fight with her partner. They're not going to make it. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy. That's kind of
I
crazy. And she didn't
agree.
talk to Molly, but she did talk to Alexis. And there were so many other ways of viewing that. But Christina was like, oh, they had a bad moment. The bad moment is permanent. They're going to break up. I need to find legal documents now to keep this baby. Like, that's not rational either. But it was fine because it was happening quietly. And it was fine because she had space with Alexis to talk about how hard this was for her. So, like, it's over now. She said it out loud and it's going to be war, but I just can't believe all of this is happening like at the same time.
I know, and fair. It's go bananas, but in this whole situation, I just want something good to come for Christina. Like,
Um
whatever that may mean down the line.
no, I
Like,
know, because it's like it's not as simple as who does the baby go to,
oh, no,
right?
no, no,
But
exactly.
you're right. It's so messed up right now that I can't actually see the end, but I have to assume that the end is the baby will have a lot of love and
Yes,
they'll go through a really
exactly.
conflict. I think just part of me is being avoidant and dreading it because it's awful. Like, I remember
It
the
is.
Maxi Lulu custody and it was
Oh la la.
brutal and it was heartbreaking. And they were like sisters, air quotes, right?
Yes.
So we've been through this and it's hard. It's very
It
hard. And
is.
so this is even more insane because, like, it's all within the same family. This is like, oh gosh, this is horrible. So yeah, like, it's really horrible, but like, damn, like, I look forward to see what happens because you can't not grow from this. And I kind of wonder where Christina will be after this. And I also wonder where Molly's going to be after this, because you pointed out Molly is living this little perfect life.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like, I wonder if this will allow her to see things in a more, I don't know, gray way, see her sister differently. I have no idea, because that's the thing. I'm like, I just kind of, I'm curious about where all the characters, where the Davis women are going to land at the end of the day.
I know, and I think what sticks in my head is that at one point in time, TJ and Molly were talking about like, yeah, the minute we get the baby, like Christina's gonna be cut out of our life. It's like, no, that's not how this works. Like, yes, with a stranger, but she's your sister. You can't just move on with your life. So there's like a huge learning curve for everybody.
Oh, wait, one of the most horrible things Molly said, and I was like, well, this is a Ross-Russ situation again. But she's like, oh my gosh, being a parent is hard, blah, blah, blah. Like, she has no clue what it is to be a parent. I'm like, neither do you.
Exactly. Thank you very
Neither do
much.
you. That's about you, right? In your mind, a parent should be together,
Yeah.
have a career.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like Christina's not wrong either. Molly and TJ are a little bit wound tight, a little bit. Everything's got to be perfect.
Yes.
So I think now that we're talking about it, I think it's about both of them learning to come to the middle a little. I do think
Yes.
Christina's is more to the middle already, but I think there's some more compassion, more lessons to learn there. But I think
Hmm.
it's maybe a little bit about that because now she's making it about, like, I guess, personality types, right? Are you guys the better parents? Are we? Like, we're chill and loving, and we see you as like perfect and critical, and you don't know how to let loose and live your life.
Yes.
So, okay, so I think those things might definitely play a role. Something that I also think that should be happening on the show is that
Hmm.
Willow should pick her jaw up off the floor when she looks at Drew.
OMG.
Oh my
Well, if he would just keep a damn shirt on.
God. You can't fault the guy for wanting to enjoy the summer. All right. I saw him on GMA and he was talking about how fun it is to do this. He's like,
Aw.
people are getting mad, being like, stay away from Willow. And I'm like, maybe not, guys. And I'm like, that's so
Amazing.
fun. And so I want to do a montage, and it really depends if I have the time, but of all of like the stolen moments, like how she's
Hand
like googly
touch.
over him, and then their hands touch, and it was like electric. And then at the end of this scene, when like Michael and her hands touch, I know she wasn't rolling her eyes at Michael, and it was
Yes.
at the situation, but it
Yes.
looked like she was like, ugh. Like it was so bad. And then when like Michael was like, I'm doing this, like he called in that favor. He's like, I'm
Yes.
doing it for you. Like you're really so like excited about his
You light
candidacy.
up,
And in
girl.
and in my head, I'm like, she like if she was doing this well, like how I feel that like Brando TJ had done those scenes, like when
Yes.
infidelity was involved, it could have been more comical where she was like, I get excited about all candidacies, so many candidacies. It's not just this candidacy. I just get excited. Candidacy is like that would have been, I think, a really funny response. But like, it's so bad. Like she's so flirty, she can't even stop. And then when he does that favor, he's like, I did it for you. And I'm just like, when he announced what he did, she's like, oh my god, Michael. And I'm like, okay, you're excited that he's helping your boyfriend, but like the way things
Right?
are going, I'm like, okay, so they're setting up Michael to be the villain.
Ooh.
Like that's just my impression. So like it was bad. Like even Drew, he's like lusting over Willow. I'm like, okay, so like he really is developing feelings. Like when he said in another world, like he's in that world.
Oh, is the world the boathouse? Oh, I didn't catch.
Yeah, that's another world if you didn't know. It's where
Another
the water
dimension.
is and where the shirts are off. But like
Oh
when
my gosh,
Michael
that's true because water connects so many odd and weird places in Port Charles. You fall into the water, you end up in Nixon Falls. Like it's so
well
weird.
well Europe is on the cusp of the Quartermain feature lake from what I recall.
Exactly.
I remember that. Um, and so I just found that when Michael was talking to Nina,
Yes.
you know, and he said, "I'll give you all the credit," but Nina was pretty good. Like she's like, "I want like I was impressed with this. I will do anything to secure a future with Willow, but there has to be a fresh start between you and I too." I was like,
I was like,
wow,
wow,
that's you
yeah.
aggressively being like loving and working for peace. She's like, I'm aggressively seeking peace with you, Michael. I want to
And
be
love.
family. Yeah, I want to have each other's backs. Do you get me? Or else. Like, it was just so funny how she made
It
it seem like this
was.
negative, but it's like, it's not. Like, so I kind of love that because that says a lot. It's, hey, I don't just want Willow, I want you too. I want everything to be good. And that's for Nina to think past herself and Willow, and
Well,
not pull Willow into her own bubble, but try to be a part of Willow's. I was so impressed with that.
I was too. And just the fact that she sees that Michael was coming from a place of high emotion and she
Yeah.
was very logical and strategic about how to maneuver the situation without causing more damage to the family.
Yeah. And she corrected him. She's like, "You're not doing this well. Let's do it this way." And I think she is going to look out for
Yes.
him. And she brought up a really good point. Like, this could screw over Drew's campaign. And
Yes.
I'm scared because obviously Willow is very excited about his candidacy in his
It's fun.
campaign. And we
Yes.
don't know what she'll do if he loses and there's no fireworks ceremony. We
We
don't
don't
know.
know.
So it's like, so I am a bit nervous about, I think they are positioning this thing where Michael can be more of a bad guy because he's not right now. And the only way to justify this further is to be like, me and Michael are in different pages, you know, like he wants the kids to take swimming and I don't. Like, that's how it started. Drew, give me your opinion. And so, like, there's Nina, and I think she really will look out for Michael. I really do think this is going to be a huge bonding for Michael and Nina.
Yeah,
And I
I think
liked
so
watching
too.
him impress. And like I said, Nina is good in her element. And I like that they're giving her that, and like, not just a woman following Sonny. And she speaks to that, you know, like, I made it
Yes.
about him and I lost myself. And it was all about like, I want to be him and I want to be part of your lives and I'm going to insert myself. And here she is doing her. And even Michael can go like, oh, damn, okay. Yeah, I can respect that.
Isn't
So I
that
kind of
wild?
like it. I really, really, oh no.
I know, say it.
Oh no. Oh god.
Mm.
Oh god. I can't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Say it.
have
Just
it
say
again.
it. Just say it. I know
Oh
you have to now,
man.
but I know what it is, so say
If it
it.
blows up, if things with Willow and Drew progress,
Uh-huh.
and especially if things also sort of continue with Drew and
Yep.
Dina.
Yep.
Oh no! I remember one
Say it
time
out loud. Say it out
Brenda
loud.
faked it. Brenda faked it, and Carly went nuts.
Let
I
everybody
can't.
in.
I
Let
can't. I can't.
everybody
I can't. Is there a world where Michael not only sleeps with Nell, her half sister Kiki, her twin sister Willow, but
in.
her mom?
Okay, here's the thing. I don't necessarily know if it's gonna go that far, but maybe there'll be like a fireworks kiss.
Oh,
One
there
of the
should
holidays,
be a
because
ban on fireworks. There's
Thanksgiving
really,
is coming up in America now in November. So
are there fireworks for Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
But there needs to be more fireworks. Like, I've never had this much talk about it. And even honestly, I'm just dying because you know, like, how people like record fireworks. And I saw
Yes.
this reel about some guys like, oh my god, please show me your fireworks, and nobody watches them back. But then it's like there's been so much fireworks talk on GH. And
Mhm.
then recently
Did you
I
watch it
pulled
with
out
Johnny? See what happens?
it gets crazy. But even I had a recording of fireworks that I've been showing someone yesterday. I go, I can see fireworks from my roof. And I'm like, look at this recording. I'm like, it's too much like worlds colliding, you know, like
Yeah.
art imitating life, fireworks everywhere. And I'm like, it's true. People do rewatch the video. I'm gonna stop. Like, this is like, no.
It's okay. It's a lot of personal information you're giving us here. Like you watched fireworks with your husband. Like stuff happened. Like we need to move on. Did we cover all the things and talk about all this stuff? We spent a lot of time on fireworks though.
I know. I'm just like, why? Like, we were doing
I,
fine. Like, we finished.
I
Like,
got
we
caught up in
finished.
it. I'm sorry. It's very mesmerizing. I was
And
like
then I had to
videograph
say,
memory with
hey, did you know that there was fireworks in GH and in my real life? And I
it.
recorded it. And I looked at it again. And there's like a whole thing about fireworks, about
Okay,
people.
I'm
And
gonna
people
start
record it.
talking about my
So,
favorite things this week.
yeah.
Okay,
And I
so
did it
we're
twice.
just gonna.
And I did it twice. And I recapped. Careful, there
Okay,
might be a recap
so
of the recap.
so one of my favorite moments this week because he's such a good actor and such a good poker face. So like Dante already knows why Jason was doing what he was doing. Like he was.
Yes! Yes! I was like, does he forget? Did he forget? I was like, that's impressive. I'm like, he's pretending he doesn't know. I'm like, I know he knows. I was so thrown by that scene.
Okay, favorites? Like Dante, great acting, great poker face.
Blaze and Christina, great acting like you were being interviewed. Gold
This
stars.
is gonna take forever. Okay, so we're just gonna throw stars. Okay, stars to the interview. Stars to Natalia for like being a trying to be a good human and taking steps towards that. A star for Cuckoo Bananas Anna because it is so entertaining to watch her ping pong all over the place.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, a star to Christina for handling things in a
Yeah.
wow in a way.
That's impressive feedback. You handle things in a way. That's good for you. Okay. Let's get everyone else to that. Hey, everybody, team, gather around. What I need for you to do, all of you, for the good of the
So,
company,
yeah,
handle things in a way. Okay? Just
yeah,
handle them in a way.
and then report back.
Yeah.
That it was, you know.
Give me the rundown when you
And I'll just fax it to my dad. Okay, so then start of Carly and Jason, those scenes where we like know they want to rip each other's clothes off, but like they just like talk about other things. Like start of them for still keeping that fire alive and keeping us just like sucked into the screen. Oh my god, major star
star.
for the Jason and Danny scenes and the fact that Danny said a line to Jason that Jason uses. Like I know they're
What?
actors, but like, oh my god, they're father son. They're so cute. When Jason said, "I'm gonna come back," or he's like, "Are you gonna come back?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, but I need you to say the words out loud." That's what Jason says to Carly all the time.
That's true.
And I had
That's true.
goosebumps, and I have goosebumps again. I'm like, "Oh my god, they're
Oh,
so
do you
cute."
know what my goosebump moment was?
Wow.
When Jason was saying goodbye to Carly and I said it, he's like, remember it. And I'm like, count to 10. That's what he told me. He's like, breathe and count to 10. I love that. But also star to Tracy and Ned.
Oh
Tracy
my
and the
god,
Sonny
yes.
moment. I was like,
What?
that's gonna be his friend. Like, cause like,
I
after
know.
everything that happened. Also a huge star to Violet and Sasha. I love that she wanted to call Sasha her cool grandmother. Sasha was like, Violet, I love
I'll
you.
still know.
I understand that you're parentless, but why don't we call me your cool aunt? Okay. So I love that. I love that connection and bond. And that's also one of those like pieces of information that I like that they pick back up is Sasha's backstory. It's relevant again, and I like it.
Me too. I'm really happy about them bonding and her having that like outside maternal person because yes, she can talk to Brooklyn and everything, but I love this bond and relationship that's building with Sasha. Like it's great.
Yeah.
A star to the Scott Ava moment, all of the Ava moments, like it was just hilarious. The kiss that leads to nowhere, like Ava was the queen of that.
But I loved it. She's like, oh my God. She was talking to herself, Eva,
Yeah.
an FBI agent? Really? Are you
It's so
serious?
cute.
She's like, my life's imploding, but why not? I was like,
It was so
that's
funny.
amazing. Like, I absolutely love it. But do you know what she's doing? She's totally embodying Sonny. Sonny has seduced how many law enforcement people?
Oh yeah, yeah,
So I
that's
kind of love
true.
that. They're the same. Again, this custody, Ross-Russ. Ross-Russ.
Oh
This
yeah,
is like,
big time, big time.
since we're giving stars for people acting things,
Double acting, guys.
I'm gonna give a star to Anna acting like she didn't know what happened to Valentine to Laura.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Because Laura's like, is she lying to me? Like you see Laura's face.
It was really good, but also really sad. When Laura started listing like all of her losses, I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
okay, Laura, it sucks. She's such a downer listing this all out like this. Like I can't. It's really depressing.
Well, I was surprised that Anna was able to hold her tears until the door closed, but also it's like the intro of like when is Lucky gonna come back? Is it next week?
Exactly.
Because Laura just said all that stuff, right?
But also, I was like, another reason to have just let Kate's arrest Valentine and Charlotte could have had Charlotte. Wait, Charlotte? No, Laura could have had Charlotte.
I
I'm like,
got
that
you. I
feels.
got you.
I thought it was too many Charlottes in the equation.
Okay, so I'm going to end this off with I just read an article. I actually didn't read it. I just read the title of
My
the
screen
article.
was on and I walked by, and I have news, guys. What?
This is the level of research and commitment you will get from this team, okay? That Rick is coming back.
What?
What? You
To
didn't
be
see it?
Molly's lawyer?
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't read
Wow.
the article.
Thank you for that half news. Like, I don't even, that's not, like, I don't even know what to say because, like, you didn't even read it. It could have just been you saw a picture.
No, he said he's coming back. They said he's coming back.
Like Rick, Molly's dad.
Yeah, there was an article.
Okay, well,
I'll
I'm going
find
to
it.
look
I'll
for
send it
it.
to you.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I'll post it, everyone else.
It was a day
Keep
ago
you in the loop.
on US Us Weekly, not US Weekly. Like it's Friday, y'all.
The United States Weekly was talking about General Hospital. Really important.
Hard hitting.
A fictional lawyer is coming back.
It's coming back.
To a lawyer.
First time since 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. The news was
He was dead
reported.
once for a little bit.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He did also confirm the news, and then
Oh.
you're gonna have to read this article. I'm gonna send it to you. It's great.
Okay. And I'll send it to all of you.
Okay, folks, have a great weekend. That's a wrap.
Bye.
Bye.